Hello and welcome to The Next Big Star. I'm your host, James Kelly, and my guest today is Raf Adame. Is that correct, Raf?
Yes.
All right.
How you doing?
So, Raf, we know each other a little bit through a mutual film, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. Let's tell the audience a little bit about who you are. Where'd you grow up? How many brothers and sisters? Something about your family.
Well, I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas,
Okay.
which is a little small town on the west part of the tip of Texas. I was there for 18 years of my life. Believe it or not, I was born in 1959.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's really hard to believe, but I was born in 59.
I have you beat by a few years, though. So
Yeah. So I grew up in El Paso and was born and raised with my mom and dad. My dad was a grocery store manager, and my mom was pretty much a waitress that trying to make a living and help us survive. They wasted no time. They had 4 kids.
Okay.
And I'm the second oldest of 4. So basically, me and my brother decided that we were going to go to. Well, we didn't decide. He actually decided for me. Let's put it that way. I wasn't that big of I wasn't that popular of a guy when I was in high school. So I wanted to be an artist when I got out, and so I started to get involved in creative art design, which is what I really wanted to do. I wanted to get involved in graphic design, and somehow my brother talked me into going to electronics school with him.
Oh, wow.
So, the condition was that, that he would do whatever it took to help me to graduate. So, because I was, I was just a C average student. My brother was an A student. And so I said, okay, we'll do that. And so we went to DeVry and graduated from Phoenix, Arizona, back in the 80s, early 80s. And actually turned out pretty good. I didn't realize I wasn't that great in electronics, but I was able to understand what was going on. I did struggle a little bit, but I ended up graduating with honors.
Okay.
And both me and my brother, we got hired by this company because they basically, DeVry was one of the programs that they had where you can graduate and then they'll place you.
Oh, wow.
And so their placement was like, I remember at the time was like 98%. It was just ungodly numbers. So I'm like thinking, wow, this is going to turn out to be pretty good. So we interviewed for a few companies, and we ended up interviewing for this company in California. And lo and behold, we both got hired
Same
on board.
company.
Same company, same package, same everything.
Wow.
They drove, they pretty much paid our way to go out there to move us and everything. And so we moved out there. Woodland Hills, one of the best areas of town at the time. And in that, in southern LA, excuse me. And well, we tried that out, and it worked out really cool. We were at these really cool apartments, started work and everything, and started to realize that I was struggling a little bit more than my brother was once we got on board. When you're working for the government, you've got these procedures and functions and just a whole bunch of paperwork, and it's got to be done the government way. And my brother was really, really good at it, and he caught on really, really quick. I, on the other hand, was not able to grasp it as good as he did. So after 3 months of working for the company, I was going to be laid off.
Well, and even with the government, they even sometimes have their own systems. Like I worked for the government, and we had our own system called DSIS. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so I'm a little familiar.
Mm-hmm. And so, I was kind of like in a predicament. I didn't know what the hell to do. So my cousin at the time, who was really like our, he was there to kind of help us out, even though he was just not a really good example for anything.
Okay.
He ended up, well, I just don't want to go into that, but he kind of guided us and gave us direction. And so one of the things he told me was, dude, you got to go back to the company and tell them, look, you got to place me somewhere where I can be useful, or send me back to Texas. And so, the next Monday, this happened on Friday. I got laid off. On Monday, I went back to work, and I remember being in that conference room and crying my eyes out, mm-hmm. and letting the guy know, the director know, look, I'm sorry that things didn't work out, and can you place me somewhere else? And I don't want to go back home. I don't have the money. This is basically all I have is what you guys got us here with. And so, lo and behold, they placed me in one of the coolest jobs I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
I was with them for about 10 years, worked for the government. I wore a bunny suit every day at work. And I got to work with inertial navigation systems, laser guidance and control systems, basically putting up experiments and figuring out what works and what doesn't. So that's what my role was, pretty much setting up the experiments for all those scientists.
Wow, that's an interesting job.
In the clean room lab that I worked in, and everything was like you had to have, you were basically sucked in before you actually walked in, because you could not have any particles on you because of the optics that we worked on, and the fiber optics and the lasers and the helium. Everything had to be like really clean, so sanitized. Yeah, so there was only a number of particles per million per room that was allowed. So I did that for 10 years, loved it. During that time, I was able to get my degree in computer science before I left the company. And then I was able to get into acting before I left the company. So when I was in LA during that 10-year period, I was an extra for 3 movies that I was out there for.
Okay.
And that was really the first time that I ever dabbled in acting, was being an extra. And then I didn't do anything for years and years until I got here to Las Vegas.
How long have you been in Vegas?
I've been here for 21 years.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
After I left LA, I went back to Texas and stuck with what I was still doing with my new degree, computer science, which I never used really. I never really liked computer science, but I got writing out of it, and I got courseware developer out of it. So I started creating courseware back then it was computer-based training.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it, but you had to have a programming mind as well. And so,
did you ever pick up your artwork again? Because you said you like doing graphic art.
I did, but not in that manner.
Okay.
Not in that manner. I did a little bit of calligraphy work, and I've done some drawing type work, but I never went back to doing the graphic design. Wow, that's a really interesting question that you asked that. Why didn't I go back to doing that?
If that was your
I
passion, yeah.
Yeah, and who knows? But
still might.
Exactly, But right now, I mean, as I was going through the motions of all the different jobs I held, I went from California to Texas, and then started going into the what do you call them? It starts with a C word that was very popular back then. You would do a job, and you would go from one job to the next. Consulting work.
Yeah, consulting
work.
Right,
so I did consulting work, and went everywhere from Tampa, Florida, to Chicago, to Iowa, to Dallas.
Now, was this on your own, or was for a company?
It was through the consulting firms that I would go through. They would place you.
Right.
Yeah. One of the coolest jobs I ever had was I had a multimedia job with IBM in Atlanta, and I was hired to go on board with them when I was living in Tampa.
Okay.
But they told me, look, because my assignment had finished in Tampa, and basically they said, we need you in Atlanta, but your job doesn't start for like almost another year from now. So we're going to pay you, to just hang it tight.
Wow.
And so it wasn't a year, it was 6 months. It was 6 months. So they paid me for 6 months doing nothing. And then I got the gig, moved to Atlanta, and then I ended up working for them for like maybe a month or so. It didn't work out that great.
Okay.
But
the new tower they built a new tower down there in Atlanta.
Did they?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Back then, or?
Well, this was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was the tallest building downtown, I believe, at that time.
Right. No, this wasn't downtown. This was working at the near the Peachtree area.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I did a lot of consulting work, and then I had a position in Chicago that I really, really enjoyed. Got a chance to live there for a couple of years. And then once I left Chicago, I came back to, I lived with my family in California for a little bit as well, but I came back to Las Vegas, and I remember putting up my stuff in storage as I left Chicago, because I had just lost my job. And so things were not going that great for me. And I thought, well, I'll put my stuff in storage and I'll move west to go visit my family, stay with my mom and my sister. So I did that. And when I first started out, things were really rough. I couldn't find any work. So I was doing like all sorts of just really strange jobs. And then I was working at In-N-Out Burger, believe it or not.
Okay.
And this is somebody that had a degree and
happens all the time.
Was used to making, at the time I think I was making pretty good money. But there I was at In-N-Out Burger, and then one day I was just out doing my thing and just sending out resumes and all that, and sent out my information to a company that was hiring for writers. And so I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So I did. I sent my resume in, and lo and behold, I've been with that company ever since. And
oh, that's great.
Yeah, I've been a writer for them for 20 plus. It'll be 20 years next year. I'm a senior writer.
So you're a technical writer? Is that what you would say?
Yeah, I'm a senior technical author,
mm-hmm.
and I write documentation.
Okay.
I really love my job.
Which is the first step in writing a first novel.
I
No, I've interviewed people who, on another show I have, where they started off either as a nurse and didn't realize that all the things they have to write, they're actually, that's setting them up to become a novelist, which she did. And then other people I've interviewed the same thing.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I really do want to do it, and I'm just scared as hell to start, and I just don't know where to start. And I started getting into the Oculus VR thing, and I need to get back into it because I do love it. But they were offering classes on how to write, a script, a scene, what do you call it? A story. How to write a script.
Okay.
And so they teach you all the steps that you need to do to start writing. And so I went into the class a couple of times, and then I stopped going because there was a lot of interruption in my life.
Mm-hmm. We might not go into all that, but so you've dabbled in writing scripts then, or at least.
No, I have not, but I want to.
Okay.
That's a little back burner thing that I want to dabble in.
Yeah, I think
sometime.
We can overthink things sometimes and talk ourselves out of stuff, when in reality, I think if you just jump in and do it, you can do it.
Oh, I know that you can. Once things started to click for me, because I started doing the film thing, and I didn't want to believe it, and I'm sure a lot of actors don't want to believe it when they first start out as an actor. They think, well, I can do this. This is no problem, right? And oh, don't tell me I need lessons. I don't need any acting lessons. I don't need that. And so it took a while for me to realize that, I do need acting lessons.
So let's skip forward then. So how long were you in Vegas before you decided to step into acting?
So, I've been in Vegas almost 20 plus years, and about 5 years ago when Jason Bourne was filmed out here.
Okay.
I got an email that they were looking for drivers for the movie.
Okay.
So I went and checked it out and got a chance to get into the movie, and was a background extra. And really enjoyed it. Had a few different scenes where I was a background hotel patron. there was one scene that I was actually going to be in the actual scene, but they cut it, and I was really bummed about it because Julie made an extra effort to have me do something different where I was going to be able to be featured, and that part they ended up cutting the scene, so I was like really bummed.
The one thing about Hollywood productions is people don't realize how many hours goes into footage that never gets seen. I was an extra in a movie in Atlanta, and we filmed for 2 days, and that entire shoot was never shown in the movie.
Unreal.
And that was for Invasion USA.
Well, I'm not surprised. I see it happening all the time, where they'll bring you on board as a background, and then they won't even use you.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting there for like 8 hours, and then you're not even used.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it, but as long as you're getting paid, right?
That's all that matters. Right. And they can afford the big budgets. So.
That's what's mind-boggling is how can they afford all that money going down to waste?
So you did that, and then that's when the acting bug kicked in again?
So I did that, and then I did a few. After I did that, I started dabbling in some short films and stuff, and getting my foot in the door. And I started understanding kind of how it all went and how it worked and stuff. And I started realizing that to put an effort into what you do, no matter what it is,
mm-hmm.
you need to have some kind of training, unless you're like a natural born actor, and there are a few of those.
Sure, yeah.
There is no way in heck that you're going to be able to be successful unless you know exactly what you're doing. And what I mean exactly what you're doing, I'm not saying. I mean, you learn every day as an actor.
Exactly.
You learn new things every day, but what the basics of getting your foot planted and knowing exactly what you need to do to be successful in beginning and creating and ending a scene.
So you took acting classes?
So during the pandemic, yeah, I looked into starting to take classes, and I took advantage of some of the free stuff that was out there. And so I connected with one of the acting coaches here in town that was giving back to the community, really. And I thought, well, this is perfect. This is great. I can commit some time to this and see where it goes.
So who was that?
Well, it was Dream Tracks.
Okay.
Frank Perillo.
Okay.
His folks. So I went. I got on board with him. We started doing Zooms every week, and that's really how I really started to understand what it took to break down a scene and how to mentally prepare for an audition and to understand what it is that you're auditioning for, how to break down what it is that you're looking at and what they want you to do. And so taking these acting classes allowed me to do that. And I feel 100% more confident in myself.
I think a lot of people don't realize that building the confidence is key for what you just said, and that there's nothing wrong. We don't prepare. A lot of people don't prepare for an audition. They think that when you're an actor, you just go out there and act and you just go read your lines. But you just said something that's key. It's like you need to know how to audition.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about auditioning. It's how do you audition.
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you end up learning through acting and through your acting coach, the etiquette of auditioning and the ins and outs of auditioning and really just making that auditioning not become like an audition but a meeting of its own, where you can really be mentally prepared without being scared and owning your in the moment presence inside that room. Those things that I know now, had I known them before, it would have been an absolute big difference. Yeah. Yes. So I struggled mightily during the beginning, just like I'm sure every actor does at the beginning. You have no idea what the hell you're doing. And it's not until you really understand how to prepare for them that you know that you'll at least have a chance to get something out of it. And since I've done this with Frank, my confidence level is so much higher. Things are looking up. I'm really beginning to really feel like an actor. For the longest time, I didn't feel like an actor. I didn't. I was like, don't call me that. I'm not an actor. You know, I'm just not. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Because I almost felt guilty because I was like, wait a minute, don't call me an actor. I'm not really prepared yet to be called an actor, even though I am acting. I'm not an actor yet.
You know, I can understand that when I started writing. I attended some seminars at Emory University in Atlanta, and the first seminar I was there, they asked us to introduce ourselves and what we do, and I had a script in my hand. And when she got around to me, she asked me, who wrote that? And I said, I did. And she goes, oh, so you're a writer. And I said, well, no, I consider myself a creator. And she said, you just told me you wrote that. I go, well, yeah, but, I don't think it's verbally correct or anything. She goes, but you wrote it. I said, yes. She goes, from this point forward, you're a writer. So I think it is that confidence level as well.
It took me
if you can call yourself an actor, then you're an actor.
It took me a long time to accept. I don't know what it was, James, but I think it was there's a magical moment, and I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but it was for me. There was a magical moment that came one day where everything just pretty much came together, and I was like, wow, this feels cool.
Yeah, I can totally
And
relate.
it's happened to me excuse me. It's happened to me a couple of times. It happened to me the first time when I was before the Frank era, before when I first met a director that I met that took me under his wing and said, look, I'll meet with you on a weekly basis. You pay me $10 a week. We'll get together and I'll teach you the ins and outs.
That's a great deal.
I'll teach
$10
you,
a week.
I'll teach you the ins and outs of acting. And so we did that. Me and Conrad got together every week, and he started showing me, don't move your head, keep it straight. One of the first things that he got me to do was to read Streetcar Named Desire.
Okay.
Which, I don't normally read. And so that was a big deal. I took the time to read the entire novel, we'll call it, with the screenplay. And that's how I started learning how to act, was to read that book and then start breaking it down just by choosing any place in there, and then we would break that scene down. That's how we started. So we did that with different screenplays, different writers,
That's great.
And yeah, I thought it was just absolutely amazing. And so that it gave me a flavor of like a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. And so without that, it would have been very difficult to be where I'm at right now.
So what was the first film you were in that you actually felt like, I'm an actor?
Drone Down.
Drone Down?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's recent?
Yeah, that's recent.
Yeah. When is it coming out, do you know?
January.
January?
Yep. Mike Conway is the director. I play a park ranger that's not very well liked, and the role is just perfect for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about it.
Now, is it a lead?
No, it's not even a lead. It's a supporting role.
Okay, but still, that's pretty darn good.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
I'm real excited.
Yeah. And then you're in another little film that I know of.
Yes.
The Factory.
Yes.
And I think they're going to be building your part up a little bit. We're hoping for it anyway.
Correct.
Now, that's a film that actually has tentacles out there in that this will be the first of the film, and then hopefully there'll be either a prequel or a sequel or both. And then hopefully that will merge into a television series.
That'll be amazing.
So, yeah. So I've heard about your role possibly enhancing that for you going forward. So
that'll be great. I was also in Rogue Angel.
Okay.
I had a small featured role in that. And then I'm going to be in Move Me No Mountain as well, Deborah Richards' movie. I've got a small role in that movie as a police officer.
That's great. Yeah.
But I'm extremely excited to be in this movie because, first of all, she's an amazing director, and her stuff just looks amazing. I can't even wait to see what she's going to come up with the final.
When will that one be filmed?
I think they start filming in a few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
So who else have you worked with here in Vegas that I might know?
Well, Brenda Daly.
Brenda Daly.
Mom Squad.
Yeah. Know about Mom Squad.
And there's a few other projects that are coming down the road that haven't come to fruition yet. But there's a lot of little directors here and there that I've been trying to get some work with, and their projects, for whatever reason, they kind of like all of a sudden get on a...
How do they find out about you?
You pretty much just start... you know what I do is I really don't promote myself as much as a lot of other actors do. I just pretty much, whatever it is that I feel proud of, I'll put it in my demo reel, and then I'll send it off. And then I'll make sure that I have, some good headshots to go with it. You never want to send something that's cruddy looking, right? You want to send something that's going to be professional looking and something that fits down the role of what they're looking for. So I'm starting to do more of those headshots where it's just not really just one headshot. It's more than...
Yeah, you do a series.
I
like
do a
3 or
series,
4. Yeah.
exactly. And I'll send the right headshot to them so that they can see, what it is that I'm interested in,
Mm-hmm. So how do you hear about these projects?
You got your Facebook, you got people on board through the Facebook apps. I mean, the different pages that you're on, that you go on, and then also word of mouth, and also your friends, and also the showcases that you attend, and also the connections that you get through your acting coach.
So you put yourself out there then? You actually go out there to the events? Or
I do. I don't go to every single event, but I try to go out there, and one of the cool things is the Stunt Academy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a part of that.
Okay.
Alan Woodman's group. I think they're just a great bunch. Alan himself is just an amazing guy.
Yeah, they've been in here.
And he gives back to the community, and I love to be a part of that because he's just got so much wealth of information, and he's spot on everything that he says as far as what he teaches, as far as being a professional stunt and knowing all the different, like the falls and the safety and just all the different things that you get to learn in his class are just absolutely amazing.
And he's worked on several movies.
Oh yeah, he's pretty much the dude as far as, if you want some kind of stunt work done in your movie, you best get a hold of him. But
I mean, even Hollywood movies, he's done quite a bit.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
He's been. Oh, you ought to hear some of the stories he has. Just some amazing stories. But what else? What was I saying?
Well, we were talking about. Now I almost forgot to here, but we were talking about how you get your leads. Who do you?
Yes. And so right. And so I was through the Stunt Academy as well. You get your leads through that because he's out there and he goes up to bat for his students. So you get certified, you do some of the things that he does, and then you audition for some of the roles that they're looking for through his academy. And so the same thing is going on with the voice acting studio, the voice actor studio. They just opened up their TVAS 3.0, and so I'm going to take advantage of that, which helps out the beginning actors that want to get into voiceover or that want to get more exposed out there to and get hands-on training. It's now going to be more available than ever before.
Now we're talking about Las Vegas, but I think this is probably true for every city.
That's really interesting. What were you going to ask?
Well, I was going to say I think that you've talked about Chicago, and even in the little town you were talking about in Texas, there's always a local theater. There's always something you can get involved in. And I think you just have to find it and just go out there and look for it.
Yeah.
And Facebook is a great place to do that too.
Yes.
Yes. Look for your local communities.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
No, I was. Yeah. Every city has their own thing going.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's amazing. And Vegas has their own flavor of actors, and I'm just hoping one day that I'm going to continue to do what I do. I'm a writer first. I love my job. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. When that day comes, whenever that day comes, when I decided to retire from that, I want to continue on and be an actor. And so I'm doing all the things that are necessary now
to set
myself up for when that day comes.
Yeah.
I don't ever want anybody to think that that acting is. And I don't think I've done that. Acting is a second thing for me. It was a hobby that I decided to take up, and I've really enjoyed it. And I think that I'm going to stick with it. You know what I'm saying?
And you should. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's funny when you start acting and you start understanding what it takes to be a good actor, and you start becoming coordinated as an actor and doing the improv, and all of a sudden magical things start happening to you. I don't know what it is.
It becomes fun.
Well, it becomes fun,
yeah, and it's a passion that you now can have fun with.
Other things start to open up, I want to be a part of helping out production. So I've gotten some boom operator experience, and so it's fun to dabble in a little bit of, but not to overdo yourself,
Yeah.
So
what the next project? You just said you finished the Drone Down, and you have a couple more. You mentioned the one.
Move Me No Mountain.
Okay.
And then I've been asked to do some here and there's within the community, but I'm actually, really thinking about having an agent that can start helping me to get solidified a little bit more.
And that's what becomes a difficult thing.
Well, it can be difficult if you make it difficult. And my dilemma right now is the word scared, fear, being eaten alive. But I need to assure myself and be more assertive of myself, because I've come a long ways. Number one. Number two, I've got some solid ground now that I didn't have before, and so and I didn't come up with that.
Right.
My acting coach came up with that.
Okay.
And so I'm going by what he said, and so I feel like
You're getting there.
Like I'm getting there, like I'm ready, but I'm still scared.
So where can we learn more about Raf Adame?
Where can you learn more?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Do you have a Facebook page or?
No, I don't. I really don't like to advertise my Facebook page.
Okay, all right. How do you want people to get a hold of you then if they need you for an acting gig?
I don't really. I mean, this is cool.
Okay.
I was actually.
So just have them come to Quirky Minds Media and ask for Raf.
Hey, there you go.
Okay,
That'll work.
That's fine with me. I'll call you up. So yeah.
So yeah, that's perfect. I'm not really out to advertise myself and to let people know, hey, if you need to look me up, I'm going with the flow.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And whatever it is that you do, you got to be good at what it is that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I'm trying to do, is to not make the mistakes that I made in the past, and to be able to deliver, what it is that they're asking for from an actor.
Now, you had mentioned to me before we went on the air today that you had a little bit of a trailer you'd like for me to add on to the end of this clip.
Yeah.
So if you'll supply that to me, I'll make sure and do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Drone Down trailer, which is coming out January, and there'll be about 4 or 5 other films that are going to be coming out with that one as well, and they'll be premiering at the Galaxy Theaters. I believe there'll be some kind of an announcement coming up.
Okay.
I'm sure Ben Stover is the one that
Yep.
spearheaded this whole thing.
Ben's been in here.
And so
I think that's the one that's 7 films and 7.
Yes, originally I believe it was 7 films, and I think it's been cut down, reduced to a number like 4 or 5. I'm not
really
sure.
Yeah. I pretty much know everyone associated with that one. So
Yeah, there was a few things, a few directors that decided to pull out.
Okay. Well, what I liked, you mentioned Galaxy Theaters, and I really want to give them a plug because they're so generous to the independent producers here in Las Vegas.
Wow, that's really good.
They really are, with premiering all their independent films.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That's great to hear.
Well, Raf, thank you so much for being on the show today. And I want to keep up with your career, and I want you to come back in a year or two, or if not sooner, and let us know what else is going on with you.
James Kelly, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your show. And yes, I definitely would love to do that.
You're more than welcome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
See, there's a... Wait, what is that?
Let me take it.
Stop it! Stop pushing buttons, you're gonna get us in trouble!
I tell you what's gonna happen. You two doofuses are gonna go out there and find that drone on your own.
Me and Russell gotta go to the woods tomorrow to do some ranger stuff. You should come with.
Tell him what attacked you.
A Sasquatch. More specifically, a herd of Sasquatch.
I see.
Bigfoot or not, our mission is to find these men and bring them home.
Okay, ladies, follow my lead.
Whoa, whoa. Stand down, mate.
What are you doing in a restricted area?
Well, my name's Leah. I'm a wildlife photographer.
There's your culprit. It's obvious what happened here. Did you really see it?
Yes.
Excuse me, did you say something?
Yeah, I did actually. I've had it with your nonchalant attitude about this. 2 of your colleagues are missing, or worse, and you don't give a single shit about it.